one of my favorite cards of all time. Everything about this deck is gorgeous. It's friendly. It wants to be nice. Too many decks, too little time. Hello everybody, it's Sylvie. Welcome or welcome back to Tarot Magpie. I hope you're doing all kinds of good today. I am doing the end of year tarot tag, which was started by Chanel over at Chanel Days. She's updated it for this year and I'm very excited to do this. She does a mid-year one and this end of year one. I believe they're both adapted from BookTube tag video trends and I find them a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to this. So let us get into it. The first prompt is the deck that you used the most this year. And you know what? I really do think, it is the Ritual Tarot. I use all sorts of decks all the time. Who are you? Temperance. That's my card of the year. That'll be why. Card of the year for 2025, that is. I acquired this in December of last year, so I've now had it for about a year and it really is absolutely gorgeous. I love it very much and I think I've just pulled this quite a lot this year because it is so stunning. I mean, I've got two. Here's my favorite cards in this deck, the Ace of Pentacles and the Princess of Cups, which is the Page of Cups sort of equivalent. I have used this quite a bit I've been very slowly working through this one. I have been slowly working through the Tarot Spreads yearbook. I actually haven't touched it in quite a while now, but it's got 52 spreads on 4 different themes. Season of growth, season of shadow, season of change, season of care. While I was working through that, I was using the Ritual Tarot to do so. I also pull this out quite a lot, just generally because I love it so much. And I don't know if it is the deck I have used most times, but I feel like it's the deck I've used most consistently throughout the year. There have not been long periods where I haven't reached for this deck, and so for that reason the Ritual is my most used tarot of 2024. Number 2 is a deck that you didn't use or a deck that you barely used, and I actually just did a whole video on this. It was not planned to coincide with this one, but I just did a neglected decks video. But a deck that I did not include in that video is the Terra Arcane. I have this one. I also have her Ocean deck, which I think I have reached for, but I don't know that I haven't used this at all. I know I've pulled it out. I think it was even on like either a seasonal or like a monthly deck stack, but I don't feel like I've used this, you know? I can't say that I've completely neglected it, but I don't feel like I've used this. I've got all the quartz out together for some reason. I love this. It's mammals. It's gorgeous. I love the art style. I love how it's kind of grungy with all the black ink work, but it's still got a lot of color in it. That 5 of Pentacles makes me want to cry a little bit. It's beautiful. I haven't reached for it. And to be honest, I haven't really reached for the Ocean one either, but I feel like I have reached for that more than this one. Again, I don't have the data to back this up. I don't track every time I pull out a deck. And I kind of wish I did, but I know for a fact that I'm not going to. So this is kind of all based on my very shoddy memory of the year, because I moved in May this year, and so I kind of don't remember anything that happened while I was still living down south. So the first sort of 5 months of the year are in a bit of a fog of my memory. But this is the Terra Arcane. This is the deck that one of the decks anyway that I have not really reached for this year, that was not already in my neglected decks video. I have quite a lot of decks. I have more than I can reasonably use all the time, so neglecting some decks is kind of just a reality of having a collection, and I'm okay with that for the most part, but I want to make sure that I'm not keeping things that I don't like in my collection. Whereas I do want to use this, too many decks, too little time. Prompt number 3 is our most recent addition, and for me, that is this teeny tiny little tarot. This is the Everybody's Tarot Mini, which only came in about 3 days ago. This is a Kickstarter that I backed a few months ago. This is a tarot deck, plus there's like an oracle card, like a mini oracle deck within it. So like there's this little mini oracle deck as well, and then this is the tarot. And when I tell you, It's tiny. I think the Tarot Arcana is a pretty standard size tarot, and this is what we're this is what we're working with for a comparison. It's fully like a third of the size of a normal tarot card. Anyway, it is extremely cute. Oh, it is actually so small, it's a little bit hard to shuffle. And I couldn't resist. So far, I've only done like a vibe check pull with this deck when it first came, and it was really nice. And I was like, you know what, I will take that. Thank you very much. I love how kind of blobby everyone is. I love this little hermit. It's gorgeous. It's so cute. We've got these little serpenty dragon guys in the quartz, and I think there's like unicorns in the quartz as well. Oh, it's just so sweet, and it's the kind of deck that I'm really glad. There we go, unicorns for the queens. I am really glad that this isn't a mini, because this is the kind of deck that I don't think I would buy full size. I don't know why, it just doesn't feel like a big card deck. Does that make any sense? Probably not. It's perfect as a mini. It's cute. I think the sort of friendliness of the deck is better when it's a small deck. I don't know why. It just feels like cozier. So anyway, that is the everybody's tarot mini. It is actually quite difficult to shuffle. It can't be riffled, so I do have to like hand over hand. But because it's so tiny, I'm really tempted to just do like a big 78 card wash with it, because it's so small. I feel like it wouldn't be that messy. And then I think there's 20 something, 30 little oracle cards that are also really sweet, like napping. Yes, I need a napping and a rose quartz oracle card. It's friendly. It wants to be nice. The next prompt is a deck that isn't your usual style, and this is another mini deck actually. The Gilded Tarot is tiny, so this is even smaller. But it's the Gilded Tarot. This is the teeny tiny pocket edition, the Gilded Tarot by Chiro Marchetti. And this isn't my usual style because it's so freaking cheesy and I love it. But when I first was getting into tarot, I would not have been caught dead with this kind of deck. Like, the art style has really grown on me. Also, I won't lie, when Thea over at Garden Goddess Tarot went on a Chiro Marchetti kick, I was swayed in part by her enthusiasm for his decks. Again, I love it as a mini. I don't think I'd love this as a full-size deck. I think it would be too much. And I think this has also just been the year of the pocket deck. So many mass market re-releases of mini decks has been great, because I love a tiny deck. You can fit more in the same amount of space. I love this otter here in the Knight of Cups. I think that's lovely. This wouldn't work for me in a full-size deck, I don't think. Who knows? I'm really glad I have it in a mini. This was my like deck of the summer. I had this just with me wherever I went because it's so small and portable, and it just feels summery. Like, it's so brightly colored. It's kind of over the top in some ways. There's something about the art style that feels quite like nostalgic, especially the way that these titles are rendered. It feels like equivalent of the computer graphic styles when I was like a kid. I don't know. Not my usual style at all. But I think this year, as with last year, but I think especially this year, I've just been like, I have no usual style when it comes to tarot decks. I will be interested in pretty much anything quite happily. So that is the Gilded Tarot. Prompt number 5 is a favorite deck pairing, and this was difficult. I love to pair my decks, and then of course I sat down and I was like, I don't know about a favorite. And for this question, for quite a few questions actually, I did try and stick to either decks that I've bought this year, or like in this question, pairings that I've discovered this year. So I can't just fall back on an old favorite. But what I landed on was the Jupiter Tarot with the Reclaim. I think they go so well together. Neither of these were new to me this year. I got the I got the Jupiter Power Tarot right at the end of last year. I backed it on Kickstarter and it came in December. And then the Reclaim I've had for a couple of years. They just work so well. The simple color palettes and the kind of blobby people art style of the ritual of the Reclaim with the, like, I don't know, the shapes are good. I think they look so good together, but they also read so well together, because the Jupiter Power Tarot has this kind of like, I don't know, it's very evocative artwork because it's kind of surreal. And I think having the Reclaim Oracle with this like emotion keyword, they work really well together. They are really interesting to read as a pairing. And I think because they also look so good together, it's definitely my favorite pairing that I've kind of discovered this year. I think. Who knows? Like I say, I don't record these things, and I'm kind of wondering maybe I would like to find a way to sort of track what decks I use and how I get on with them and all that kind of thing. Maybe somewhere in my tarot journal, I can do like a little monthly wrap up for myself just to remember these things. Because I've also been struggling to figure out what my favorite decks of the year are. Because, like I say, I kind of don't really remember the first half of this year. It doesn't feel like the same year. So, anyway. That is the Jupiter Power Tarot and the the Reclaim Oracle together. Prompt number 6 is favorite deck bag, deck mod, accessory, and I landed on the deck edging that I did for the Naturescapes Tarot, which I'm pretty sure I did this year. I don't think I did this last year because I am pretty sure I did it during a D&D session of a campaign that we only started this year. So this is the deck, this is the Naturescapes. These are the backs. This is a Make Playing Cards print on demand deck, and then I did this like ombre deck edge with 3 different colors of green. And I really like how it came out. I was iffy on it, but once I did the whole deck, I kind of like how it sort of blends together. I wasn't super precise about where I ended each color, but I really like it, and I think it works nicely with the backs. I tried to find shades of green that are present in the back, so it's kind of this quite like more bluey shades of green. But yeah, that is my favorite deck mod. I haven't done a lot of deck modding this year, and there are lots that I want to do, I just haven't got around to. Prompt number 7, favorite deck backs, and I'm actually just going to combine this with the next one, which is decks with a great theme, because I couldn't really figure out a deck back that I really loved. So what I did was I picked the Sistine Tarot as a deck with a great theme, and then I was like, no, actually this has pretty cool deck backs. So this is a page of the Book of Genesis, and I just think it's extremely gorgeous. I'm not religious, but I think it's just incredibly cool as a deck bag. But I did initially pick this as a deck with a great theme. It's slippery. It's a collage deck, but the way that she pulled different elements together and made it so cohesive, I'm just in awe every time I flip through this. It's so pretty. I absolutely adore it. I think it's completely gorgeous. So this is the Sistine Tarot. This is unfortunately out of print. You can't get this. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck that I'm thrilled to have in my collection, so I'm not going to not talk about it. It's always a tricky balance to strike on YouTube because I don't want to be... I want to be talking about the decks that I love, and I want to be reflecting my practice honestly, but I do feel a little bit bad kind of showing off decks that I know you can't get anymore. But then when I think about it as a viewer, if this is the only way I'm going to see these decks, I would like to see them through a screen rather than not at all. So I don't know, it's a bit of a swings and roundabouts. But anyway, this is the Sistine Tarot, these backs. And then the deck with a great theme, it's the Gay Marseille, because the theme is queer. And to be fair, also, these backs also stunning. Also stunning. I love the sun and moon. Yeah, the theme is gay. Not just gay, but like queer. And there's a distinction there in my brain that I'm not going to get into right now. Queer as in defying all the norms and blurring all of the boundaries and all of the binaries. And it's so good. This is by Charlie Claire Burgess, who I'm just like the biggest fan of, and I love everything that they do. They're coming out with a new book next year, which I cannot wait for. They're working on another deck. Anyway, it's so good. It's so good. I love this star. This is like one of my favorite cards of all time. The Gay Marseille. I really want to edge this, but I'm torn. I don't know whether to like match this turquoisey color or this darker green, or maybe this blue, or even the pink, although I think that might be a bit aggressive on the eyes. Maybe this darker green is the way to go. Prompt number 9 is a deck you are in love with. It's the Circle of Doors Tarot. My god, I'm so glad that this came into my life, and I'm incredibly lucky because the creators sent this over to me because they thought I would enjoy working with it, and I very much do. It is one of the best decks in my collection. I have just been kind of obsessed with it since I first read the guidebook, to be specific. I love the cards, I love the artwork. Even though it's a photography deck, it's this double exposure thing, or like multiple exposure, so it doesn't have the same, it doesn't feel like a straightforward photography people are looking at me deck, because it's got this multiple exposure. It's also a bit like surreal and weird, so it works for me visually. But specifically it was the guidebook that made me fall in love with this deck, and then I've just loved it ever since. The cardstock is also gorgeous. It's a really big card size, but you can do like a one of them to shuffle it, and it's got keywords, which I've really come around to. Keywords on tarot decks, I feel like I've got a few now. It's just so good, and I am so bloody glad that I have this deck in my collection. I feel like I've not really shut up about it since when did I receive this? It was in August or September. I don't remember which, but I've had this for like 3 or 4 months now, and I just feel like I haven't shut up about it. I feel like I haven't really stopped using it. When I don't know what to pull for, I have frequently pulled for this. It looks like it's going to be a bit dark and intense, and it is intense, but not in the way that I expect it to be. It's just so like loud. It's so loud, and it's so completely accurate. It's incredible to read with. I love it so much. So that is the Circle of Doors Tarot. Also these backs, this is like the only color in the deck because it's all black and white. And I don't know how accurately the colors are showing up, but with the foiling as well, it's just, oh, everything about this deck is gorgeous. Prompt number 10 is a deck that you wish existed. And for this, I am gonna say the perfect herbal deck that I've kind of been on the lookout for. I'm not exactly sure what the criteria for this deck are, but I know that every other herbal deck that I've seen doesn't quite fit. I want to love the artwork. I want it to have keywords, but I want to like those keywords. I want the guidebook to be really good. I want it to be as local to me as possible. What I really want is like a UK, Scottish specific herbal deck with like local plants and or local sort of folklore and histories and stories and things. I want a herbal deck that is both the kind of herbalism, like more I don't know if medicinal is technically the right word, the properties of herbs and what they can be used for, and then I also want the kind of mythology, folklore sort of aspect of things as well. And I have not found this deck. That deck doesn't exist that I've discovered so far. Some have come kind of close, but they're either much more US based, which like there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, and that is still useful information and interesting information to me, but I do want one that's more like local. And frankly, I've come across quite a few herbal decks that I just think are kind of not ugly, but not aesthetically pleasing to my eye. So I am still in the hunt for like the perfect herbal oracle deck. I think I've got the Herbcrafters Tarot, which is fantastic. The guidebook for that is so good. And I've got the Herbal Astrology Oracle, which is, I want something that is more in depth than that, but I do really like that oracle deck, and I think that is the only like herbally decks that I have. So I'm still on the hunt for my perfect, maybe doesn't exist, maybe because it's too specific. I'm still on hunt for my perfect herbal deck, so that is my like deck I wish existed. Number 11 is which card sums up this year as a whole, or a card that you like. And my year has been, personally, like for my personal life, really good actually, which is nice. Nice to be able to say that. I feel like this has been a really good year for me. But in the context of the wider world has gone to shit. It's been a hard world to live in this year. So I don't know if there is a card that sums up those two extremes. Like if I'm just thinking about my personal life and like the things that I do and my degree of like happiness in my life on any given day, that's been really good. I've had a really good year. Like I've moved in with my partner, which has been lovely. I've been seeing and making friends and like real life friends, which has been lovely. Tarot Magpie has been a constant source of joy, and I've been growing this, and that's been really great. And like on the whole, this year has been really positive for me. Then if I like look outside my own little bubble, it's been a really hard world to live in. There's been just lots of constantly awful news, and it's a weird one. So I don't have a card that sums that up. I don't know if there is a card that sums that up. Let me know in the comments if you think there's a tarot card that kind of balances those two extremes, because it's a tricky one. So yeah, that's my non-answer for that prompt. And then prompt number 12 is a tarot practice reflection. And I like the direction my practice has been going, especially in this like last half of the year, last quarter of the year, especially like the mind map style of reading that I've been doing. It works so well for my brain, and I kind of can't believe I haven't been doing it this whole time. I've been loving experimenting with that and sharing it here on YouTube as well. Feedback has been really great, and it's just so cool to see other people trying this thing that I don't want to say came up with, because I know I'm not the first person in the world to think of doing tarot reading mind maps, but it's very cool to see people's response nonetheless. Yeah, my practice has been, I want to do more readings for myself. I feel like I've kind of fallen out of doing more than daily pulls for myself. Not that I want to do like big readings every day, but I feel like I want to get into the habit of doing readings for myself a little bit more often in 2025, or just back into the habit rather. But yeah, my tarot practice has been pretty good this year. It's been a bit disrupted. I've been having to like adjust to a new space, and I think that's why my readings for myself have kind of slowed down a little bit, because I moved and I'm in a new space and I have a new routine, and that kind of messes with, I'm in a new space, I have a new routine, and that does interfere with like all of our daily practices. But I feel kind of settled, and I want to continue having a good tarot practice for myself. All right, finally, pull a card for the new year or a deck you want to use next year. And so I'm going to grab the Her Majesty Oracle, because this was a highlight of this year that has not made it into this video yet. And I'm actually going to pull an Oracle card instead of a tarot card. Okay, so we've got the prairie dog with dig and what do I want to carve out space for in my life. I like this because my word of the year for 2025 is magnification, and I feel like there's some similarities there. So when I say magnification, I mean it in the sense of like honing in on and focusing on a thing that already exists. I don't necessarily want to be adding new routines, practices, goals, whatever. I want to be kind of expanding on what I've already got going on, and I quite like this as a method of doing that. But I want to carve out space for what already exists. I want to dig deeper into what already exists and expand what I've got going on. What do you want to prioritize? Get creative about how you can bring more of it into your life and go for it. Consider inviting your community to join you. I like that message, and I hope that that you do too. If it, if it resonates, take it. If it doesn't, never mind. And that is the end of this video. Those have been my responses to the end of year tarot tag. I will of course link Chanel's video in the description if you haven't already seen it. I feel like I've had a pretty decent year this 2024. It has not been the worst year by far. I've had a pretty decent year. It's had its ups and downs, as does any year, but I feel like it's been a good one. It's been nice to reflect on it. I would love to hear how your tarot practice has been going this year, your favorite decks, all that good stuff. But that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I really hope you've enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you'd like to see more from me, there is a link to my Patreon community in the description. I would love to have you join us over there. There is also a link to my Etsy store for readings and my tarot spread mini zines. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. If you liked this video, give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.